So today we have some very special builders in the virtual house joining us straight off of the plains coming from EthCC and ETH Global Brussels. We have members of urbe.eth and Fabri, who is Dev Rel for XMTP, and Limone.eth, our friend from urbe.eth, are here to share an encore of an Open Frames workshop they held at Urbe House for EthCC. And, I'd like to hand it over to them to go ahead and tell us a bit about urbe.eth and to go ahead and share their workshop with us today. Would you like to take the reins?
Do you want to give an intro to Urbe Limon, and then I go with the bot demo?
Yes, for sure. So, hey everyone, I'm Limone. I've been already in this call a couple of weeks ago, still presenting some OpenFrame stuff that I've been building. But yeah, like today I wanted to chat about Urbe.eth is our community, Web3 community that we're running in Rome since May 2022, and we've been active with meetups, workshops, hackathons. We organized it Rome, which is the first Web3 hackathon happening in our country. And last week, actually, we had our first international event, so happening outside of Italy, and was called Urbe House. And we basically rented a venue for 4 days from morning 9 a.m. till 10 p.m. and running workshops for builders. So we are a community focused on building stuff in Web3, and so we will always want to get more developers and builders onboarded in the space. And specifically, like before hackathons, we run these intensive workshops and bootcamps to prepare people for the weekend acting on whatever they'd like. And in Urbe House, we also had a workshop with Fabri around open frames, which was like really, really fun and exciting to have there, as I'm a big fan, as you know. So yeah, Fabri, on you.
Awesome. Yeah, we did a workshop in Urbe House, which was in a really nice corner of Brussels. Yeah, and the venue was great. The food was really healthy. So congratulations on the whole organization on that. So let's go. Let's show what we demo on Urbe. So I'm going to share my screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, so on the right, I'm mirroring my iPhone. I'm using the newest feature from iOS. So we are seeing Converse groups on mobile, right? This is Converse groups. It's on test flight. It's not public yet, but it's coming really, really soon. And how this relates with open frames. So we are going to see how we can interface with Converse, generate open frames, use bots, and try to innovate on Web3 use cases and see where this leads. So on the left, we have the so-called message kit. So message kit is an SDK that allows us to interface with XMTP apps. In this case, it's going to be Converse groups, but could be any of the apps that integrate XMTP. So let's go into the message kit demo. So there is a very useful CLI command I can use to start the demo. So boom, create message kit, and when we create message kit, it comes with 3 examples. Like a GM is pretty simple. Then one-to-one is like how to handle subscriptions and to broadcast like in a one-on-one conversation. But we are going to go straight with groups. Let's call this message kit group. And there it is. So I have one already open on the left. This is as it comes. The only thing that I did here is add a private key and some of the keys that the demo needs to run, like OpenAI keys, and we are going to see more of that now. So now let's go into groups. Let me hide this. Okay, we are going to create a group. So the address that is listening on this group is listening here. So it has created an address on XMTP, an identity. In this case, it's a be-free identity. So this is also new. In be-free identity, you have your main account address, but it's associated with a new inbox ID. This inbox ID can hold multiple addresses. So this relates to smart accounts and also new features that are coming to Commerce. So I already associated this address with a username in Converse, and it's called MK1. So we are going to create the group with MK1. Let's call it dev call. Okay, and this is the group. So let's start by inviting guests to our presentation. So we are going to invite Bo, which its username is MessageKitBo because minimum two-letter words. So let's add Bo to the group. As you can see on the left, we are going to be logging some of the activity performed in the group. So the bot knows about Bo being added to the group and says, welcome to Bo. Now let's also add Alex, and now we are going to start using commands. So MessageKit, it can process commands. You can declare these commands. These commands are declared in a command file. So we are going to start with admin commands. So I want to add Alex to the group. In this case, usernames are hard-coded for the demo. So if I want to add Alex, this is going to fail because the bot is not an admin of the group. So let's go and fix that. Let's go to MK1 and let's promote MK1 to admin. Now let's try this again. Someone reacted to my comment. Welcome Alex to the group. And let's add our last guest, which is called Eva. Okay, now we have, but actually Eva is not inclusive, it's not gender neutral. So let's now talk to the agent. Agent is going to receive one parameter that is the prompt and is going to interface with GPT. So agent, let's remove Eva. She's not inclusive. And this agent knows about the commands and it can understand the intent of my prompt. And now Eva is gone from the group. So bye-bye, Eva. We will stick with Bo and Alex, who are inclusive. Okay, now let's go into what else can we do with, for example, an AI agent, GPT power inside the group. So let's ask him to tell a joke. Why did Web3 developers go broke? Because he lost his private keys at the comedy club. Well, this is supposedly funny, and we want to reward this behavior. So I'm going to tip 100 degen. Degen, in this case, is not real degen being sent, but as you know, this is all APIs, so tokens can be moved in the backend. And what's happening now is that I receive a new notification from the bot via one-on-ones that I sent 100 tokens in total. So the bot also communicates with me through one-on-ones. Now, let's welcome also Bo and Alex with some tokens to get them started. And I'm going to send them 200 degen. Degen is by default. Let's see if I got any notifications. Now I sent 400 tokens, 200 for each one. Okay, what else can we do? So now let's go into open frames, how we can use open frames inside a group chat. And we are going to see the example of base frame. So this is MessageKit app directory, where dozens and hundreds of apps are going to be published. So far, we have some games, some open frames, and some one-on-one bots. And base frame has its own website inside the directory, and it has also its own homepage. And base frame is a multi-purpose frame that is meant to be used by developers. because it uses get parameters in the URL and generates, based on that intent, it generates buttons ready to perform actions. So I can send, swap, and mint using base frame. So let's say I want to send one ETH to Bo. Now, message kit is going to interpret these commands, also knows about base frame URL, knows about base frame parameters, and just gives me the final intent of that command, which is the button that performs the transaction with the token Ethereum. The amount is 1 and already knows the address of Bo. So that's how you can create the transaction using open frames and the parameters from the command. And we can also, the AI also knows about base frame. So I can be more, not so strict with a command, but I can be more casual. So let's swap one ETH to DAI. Again, now you can see the get parameters being shown, and we have ETH, we have DAI, and we have the amount that is 1. So the parameter was performed correctly. Now, if we want to see base frame in its purest form, this is like the homepage of base frame. So you can also navigate through the frame and perform the actions that you want. For example, we can go into swap. Swap is going to say, gives me options. Let's say ETH, let's say 1, let's say 2. And then for which one? Let's say for degen, also base frame checks that I don't have balance in this case, so it's also correct. Now let's see what else can we do with frames. So let's go into games. For example, I know there is a command called game, and because I don't know which games are available, I ask for help. So available games, Wordle, and slots. Now let's talk to the AI. Let's play a game. Now I'm signaling intent, so the AI is probably going to pick one randomly, and it picked Wordle. So now it's Wordle time. And in Urbe, we were live, and it failed. We failed. So we are going to start with 2 words that can help us solving this Wordle. So degen, okay, we have an N, and group. Okay, no matches, but some hints. I hear you. I'm going to be watching for the comments. Okay, let's try with 5-letter words. Can you see the screen? Can you see the colors? Yeah?
You're all by yourself, Fabri.
Now, please help me because I'm not a Wordle expert, not even close.
Toner.
Which one?
Toner.
What do you mean? Like toner? That's a word? Okay. Nice. Okay. This is just like, this is an accident. It was not planned. Okay, so we have the O and the N, tonal. Okay. Okay, that was very good. Thank you. So now this is also not any group chat. It's more of a, let's put a name that is more appropriate. So let's name this group Degen group. I'm also interfacing now with the metadata of the group. So I can, now the group has been renamed. The bot knows about the renaming and welcomes the new name. Now, yeah, another game we can show, Slot, which is also a really cool one. Never, I nail the free icons. I always do 2 tries. So let's see this time. Want to get one more? Almost, but this one still is very difficult. Yeah, so okay, we've seen open frames, we've seen bots, commands, admin privileges, everything that you can do in a group. So what else can we do in a group? We can send attachments, and also these attachments can be seen by the AI. So I'm going to upload a dinner bill, and the AI, it has a system prompt that is going to, this is split payments. So we want to split the payments between the members of the group chat. So I send the dinner bill. This is, everything is processed by XMTP. It's encryption and decryption. So let's see how the AI responds to this. Okay, the AI extracts the total command, knows who is in the group, splits the bill evenly into the members of the group, and shows them the base frame with the 16 with 51 cents transaction in USDC for the users to pay me in this case, because I was the one that paid for the dinner bill because I uploaded the picture. Okay, that was that one is using Vision from GPT, and yeah, everything that we've seen was powered by these commands. So if I trigger help, these were all the commands used even or manually or by the AI. So we can also tag the bot. In this case, the username would be MK1, but for now it's bot. So I'm going to thanks the bot because it was a great demo. And okay, the bot is asking for some tipping, which I can also tip with an emoji. So if I tip with an emoji, I just send tokens to the bot. You send 10 tokens in total, I get a notification. And yeah. Okay, last one. So everything was running through a loyalty program. So each time that my comments had a reaction, like a positive reaction, I was earning 1 point. And every time I add a new user, because these are the incentives of this group chat, I also earn 10 points. So there is a leaderboard. You can think of groups, loyalty programs, incentives. And in this leaderboard, you have the top 10 users. And this is Degen group, which you can see live also. This is powered by Stack SO. So all the members of this group chat, this includes multiple group chats for the demo, but we're earning points all the time. So, and then these points can be used for maybe projects to reward with airdrops and so on. So that was what was shown in Urbe House, how to use open frames. And now Limone is going to go more deep into open frames and show how they can be used in apps like Commerce really soon.
Yes, cool. Thank you, Fabri. So let me share my screen first. Entire screen. Yes. Can you see my screen?
Yes, that's great.
Yes, perfect. Yeah, I think like from the demo that you also made in Urbe House, like I'm thinking that it's so cool that there's a lot of like building blocks that other developers can start building and playing around with and create their own experiences, bots, mini apps inside chat application, because this helps maybe Ephemera or any other team like focusing on the application, and then whatever like experiences can be customized by others. And it's so cool because it's open innovation like open frames, for example. So what we've been working on with Fabri in the last couple months at this point, I think it's trying to understand what would be like the first cool experiences that can be like run inside these group chats on Converse in this case through XMTP. And definitely like open frames are part of this because they enable more enriched interactions, let's say. So I'm sure that you're all already familiar with the open frame specification, but basically it's just extending the frame spec to make it compatible with other protocols, and in this case with XMTP. And like these efforts, I think, were started by Frames.js, which is this framework that is very helpful if you want to start building frames with a lot of there's the debugger libraries, SDKs that help you and abstract some of the complexity when it comes to building frames. And so they came up with this open frames standard that allows any protocol that want to support frames doing so. So there's a simple link here, framesjs.org guides/openframes. And actually something that we started working last week, actually no, was before Brussels, with Fabri, was creating some starter kits so that people can already can simply start building open frames with a simple CLI. So maybe I can zoom in a little bit. If you type npx create open frames, there's a cool CLI that prompts you of three options, three starter kits that we created with three different framework. The first one is Frame.js, then we have one with Frog, and also one with onchain kit. If you are familiar with it, is the less opinionated one, so the one that maybe has more gives more headache when coming to metadata and other SDK stuff. So, but let's go with the Frame.js one. XMTP Dev Rel, let's call it, this is the folder name, and now it's loading, so I'm not sure my Wi-Fi is running fast enough, but basically what this is downloading is this repository here, open frame starter frames.js, as you've seen here under the Builders Garden, which is our small product studio with Frank and Orbulo. We have these three repository: open frame started with Frog, open frame started with Frames.js, and open frame started with onchain kit. And everything that Fabri has shown in the previous demo somehow has been built following the guidelines that we integrated into these starter kits. So in the example of Frames.js, which is my go-to framework, we implemented this is still going. So maybe I can try with a local version that I have already. It's a pretty simple frame. This is their debugger. So as you can see, I'm logged in with my XMTP address here, and the basic and starter frame is showcasing developers how to build frames with different buttons. So the simplest action probably is the link button, which redirects you to an external URL. Then we have an input field where you can type some stuff, test input. And when you click post, it's an example of post button that you can use to navigate through different frame states. For example, the ones that Fabri was showing in the base frame example. And in this case, we are showing some simple data. So there's a current state, which is a state embedded in the frame. There's the text input, as you can see here. Test input is the one that I entered in the field below. Before, sorry, the number of the button that I clicked, and then for some reason it's not fetching my connected address, but and also the FID of course is not there because I'm connected with XMTP. And just to give you a taste of the state variable, for example we build this frame in a way that every time you click, the current state counter increases somehow. So it shows you how to pass states, variables, or different data between different frame endpoints. And finally, we also have an example of a transaction frame. So if I click transaction, this should trigger a simple transfer to myself, actually, to Limone to Limone. Yeah, that's fun. 1 USDC, and by confirming this transaction, MetaMask is relaying it to base, and finally we have this frame saying successfully transfer 1 USDC. And the code is pretty simple. It's a bunch of files here following the frame specification. As you can see here, and as I've shown you in the Frames.js specification, there's a middleware that is specifying the client protocol that we want to support, in this case XMTP. And then for each of the client protocol that you want to support, you need to specify two core functions. The first one is valid payload. The second one is get frame message. Is valid payload is a function that we need in order to verify that the messages that are being passed to the frame are actually valid, so authenticated by a valid address or account. And so this happens actually behind the scenes. As a user, you don't see it, but whenever you click a button, this button is sending a signed message to the frame server, and the frame server is verifying that the message is valid. Then we also have a get frame message function that is needed to fetch the message body. So again, whenever you click a button, you're sending a message to the frame server with some data, like the button that you're clicking, the address of the connected wallet, and much more. And you need a function in order to extract these parameters. And for each protocol, you need to specify how to handle these functions. So imagine that frames have been developed first in the Farcaster ecosystem, and so the function to validate the payload and the function to get the frame message are somehow by default supported, while then if you want to support XMTP, you need to tell the frame server how you want to extract these parameters. Going back to the main frame that you see here. So if I debug localhost 3000, here is the frame that I'm visualizing. So simple text. So even showing how you can embed text or create custom and dynamic image generation within the frame, how to specify an input field, how to specify different type of buttons, the link one, targeting an external URL, the post button that is targeting an internal endpoint that I will show you later how does it work, and then the transaction endpoint. So the link one is pretty exhaustive. So you just click on the link button, and the client is supposed to redirect you to in this case, to the GitHub URL. When it comes to the post action, in this case, we are targeting the /post endpoint. So if we go under post, there's a new route, and this route is fetching some parameter from the message. So this context message is fetching the frame body, the frame message body that I've shown you in the middleware before. Is fetching the input text, the button index, the connected address, and a bunch of other stuff, and then is rendering it inside the image, as you can see here. So you can use Tailwind as well. It's pretty simple. And if I click back, I'm going back to the original frame. The last one is the transaction button that you can see has two URL. So the target URL is the one that the client needs in order to construct the transaction parameter. So if I go under TX route, in this case, I'm preparing the transaction call data to perform the transfer. So first, I'm fetching the address, and as you can see here, if the client protocol XMTP, I'm not sure if the zoom is enough. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit. Yeah, if the client protocol is XMTP, the wallet address of the user is inside this variable. So maybe this is the reason why it wasn't shown in the previous frame. So we got a bug. While in the case of Farcaster, the connected address is inside this other variable. And what I'm doing here is simply preparing the transfer transaction. So using the RC20 API, transfer function, the address where I want to transfer, and then with this frames.js utility, I'm able to return all the parameters that the client need to contact MetaMask and prompt the user to transact. Once that's done, we also have another post URL, in this case, success. And this is the URL that the client will call when the transaction went successfully. So in this case, it's a simple data saying successfully transferred one USDC. So this is just a simple starter kit that hackers, developers out there can already start using to build open frames on XMTP, but also on Lens, and soon, hopefully, more protocols will start supporting it. And since we, of course, we are not opinionated with any framework in particular, there are some developers that prefer developing open frames with Frog. They already have it. We don't change it the same, and basically we replicated the same functionality over all the open starter, open frame starter. So if I go on Frog, for example, yeah, maybe on ChainKit better. If I go on ChainKit, I mean, it's a slightly different the way in which you can debug, because on ChainKit, for example, is not offering debugger. So we made it so you can use the open frame debugger, which is open here. I need to connect a wallet. Yes. Selecting a protocol. Let's go on XMTP again. Signing a message, and I'm logged in now. So this debugger should work, and this is the frames.js starter. While then, if I run another yarn dev inside the onchain kit one, it's now running on port 3001. Oh yeah, shit. Oh yes, I know why. There's a small bug in here. Yeah, it's a base URL. Debugging live, I love it. Yeah, 3001 in this case. Title, yeah. So as you can see, there's a link pointing to OnChainKit, a post button that you can click with similar functionalities, and then a transaction frame that is always bringing me to MetaMask. In this way, hackers out there can start developing open frames with whatever framework they prefer. I'd leave. So before leaving the word to Frank, that is showcasing one of the latest open frames that we started building, I wanted to showcase another experiment that we've been working on with Fabri, and is a betting bot. So as Fabri has shown you in the demo before, it's frames are cool, but frames with bots are even cooler, let's say, because in the case of base frame, for example, as a user, you can either go through the whole process of selecting the action, clicking the buttons to select the tokens to swap the amount, whatever. But thanks to bots, we can abstract the intent of the user and just give them back the confirmation button to get to the same outcome. So instead of clicking buttons to decide what to swap, the base frame bot allows a user to simply prompt the bot and then having a button to execute the transaction. And the same would happen, for example, with this betting bot. So we want to create a bot where people inside a group chats can create a simple bet. So let's say who will win the next Fortnite game with a command that Fabri, similar to what Fabri showed earlier in the demo. And that command will ask me to set some parameters and confirm the bet creation, which is happening on chain. Once it's confirmed, there are other commands that I can use to close the bet, to bet on a specific option, to set who is the winner. So different actions that are combining bots and frames in a very interactive way and giving the user an enriched experience. And Frank, now, if you're ready, you can show like the Brian frame, which is probably a version 2 of the base frame that is not yet integrated with a bot, but I think is the next level when it comes to perform transactions within a group chats.
Okay, yeah, I can go. Thanks, Lemon, and thank you, everyone. So I will share my screen. Okay, so I will show you a frame that we built during the EthCC Brussels Urbe House. So basically, after Fabri and Lemon finished the workshop on XMTP frames, we started working on this frame using the Brian API. So I'm Frank. I'm one of the co-founder of Brian and one of the developer of Brian. And with Brian, we are building an intent recognition engine where you can basically leverage the large language model, natural language understanding to extract user intent and build, for example, a transaction or get some data or get some resources.
Did he?
And did you say something?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's your connection or my connection. Sorry.
Yeah, you froze for a bit, Frank. Now you're good.
Oh, can you see me now?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So we followed the OpenFrame standard and built a frame using the Brian API, in particular the transaction endpoint, to basically execute transaction starting from a prompt in natural language. So using the Brian API, you can make different kind of transactions, such as, I don't know, swap, bridge, cross-chain swap, deposit on DeFi protocols, and many more. But we built this frame for the swap, in particular, swap and bridge. So the frame works on Converse, but I will go with my. Okay, yeah, the frame works in Converse, but I will go with the frame debugger because I have to make some transactions. So basically, when you can start here, you can see some example of prompt that you can make on different chains because the Brian API is multi-chain. So let's click on start. Okay, a CAPTCHA just to validate that I'm a human. And here we can prompt, for example, a swap or a bridge operation on different chains. So for example, let's say swap 10% of my ETH to USDC on Arbitrum. So I submit the prompt. Right now we are calling the Brian API to get back the transaction object to execute. So let's see if the result is ready. Okay, here we go. And this is an overview of what we are performing. So we are basically making a swap from ETH to USDC on Arbitrum chain using the ENSO solver. And this is the minimum amount that we will receive after the swap. And this is the address receiver because really you can specify a different address receiver for the swap. So this is a description, an overview basically of the operation that we are going to do. Let's click on confirm. And we can simply execute the transaction and we can check the transaction on Arbiscan. So here you have some links to the Brian API, or I can start again. So as said before, this frame is built using the Brian API and using the open frame. So it will be compatible with Converse. And our plan is to make even other frames for other operation that Brian can support, such as, let's say, the DeFi protocol depositor withdraw or ENS registration, so whatever. So I feel it's very cool to build this kind of stuff with Brian that is basically an API in this case that works with text-based prompts, and so I feel like it's a perfect fit for Converse in general for XMTP, and that's pretty much it. So thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Frank. And I think we can expand maybe in the next weeks the frame to be integrated with a bot
Yeah.
and have a much more interactive experience. So I already have some ideas for it.
Wow, fantastic. I am so grateful that you joined today, and I want to just, I know we're a little bit over time, but does anyone have any questions or comments for the call? And we can always follow up in community forum as well. Great. All right. Well, what I especially like about this is that we have three amazing projects working together and building together, and it is perhaps, I think, one of the best moments I've seen in our developer call. So again, so grateful that you've joined, and we'll be sure to share the recording of today's meeting on YouTube and in via all socials. And then you can, of course, will share clips and highlights and everything to help amplify the great work that you're doing. Right. Fantastic. And be sure to go ahead and mint your NFTs today for today's dev call to commemorate. All right. Any other comments? And I think it would be fun to keep going. And maybe if you could, if Frank and Limone and Orbulo, if you'd like to keep joining and like keep sharing your journey and building out and iterating, that would be wonderful too. Would love to see that. All right.
Of course,
Yeah.
of
Thank
course.
you.
Excellent, excellent. And then it won't be conflicting with the Farcaster call next time. So we'll have more folks joining. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you again.
Bye.